This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, a slim front pocket wallet available in carbon fiber and titanium. With more than 250,000 sold, a lifetime guarantee and free shipping, get 10% off with the code GOLDFISH at ridgewallet.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Monday means it's Modern Monday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a really interesting hybrid list to look at today. This deck kind of jams together a fairly well-known deck in Modern, Hollow One, with some really super spicy, surprising ways to kind of get in a lot of damage out of nowhere, and we are calling this one Hollow Flayer, and it comes to us from Raging Tilt Monster, who did get to a 5-0 finish in a competitive Modern League on Magic Online. So congrats to Raging Tilt Monster on a really cool deck. A quick reminder before we break down Hollow Flayer for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Hollow Flayer starts out looking like a pretty typical Hollow One deck. Lots of ways to loot through our deck, sometimes in ways that we can control, like Faithless Looting, sometimes with random effects like Burning Inquiry, Goblin Lore. But the main idea of this deck is we just want to draw and discard as many cards as possible, because looting through our deck does two things. First, it fills our graveyard, which is something we really want in this deck. Second, it enables our Hollow Ones. We also have Collective Brutality, which kind of walks the line between a way we can discard cards with Escalate, also a removal spell, a bit of life gain, a duress effect, so kind of just does a little bit of everything for 2 mana. So why are we putting so much effort into looting through our deck and drawing discarding cards? And from this, the deck looks fairly typical at first. We have our Hollow Ones. If we can Burning Inquiry on turn 1, our Hollow Ones are free. If we can Goblin Lore on turn 2, our Hollow Ones are free. Even with Faithless Looting and a combination of like a cycling card, on turn 1 we can play Hollow Ones, so we can't just randomly win games where we play a couple Hollow Ones as early as turn 1, thanks to all of our drawing and discarding effects, and just beat our opponent down with free 4/4s. We also have Street Wraith, which is a great support card for Hollow One. Another way that we can cycle to reduce the cost of Hollow One, so it works really well with things like Faithless Looting, where Faithless Looting will make Hollow One cost 4 less because we're discarding 2 cards, and then Street Wraith can get Hollow One all the way down to free to let us play them for free as early as turn 1. So another good way that we can support our Hollow One plan. And then we have a bunch of typical Hollow One stuff. Flame-Blade Adept, one of the best 1-drops for the deck because we're cycling or discarding so many cards. We can play this on turn 1 and then cast a Goblin Lore and just smash our opponent for 4 with Menace. A good way to get in damage. Flamewake Phoenix comes back for the graveyard thanks to big Flame-Blade Adepts or Hollow Ones or Tassiger being big enough to trigger Ferocious. Tassiger, just kind of a backup win condition. We can usually cast it for 1 mana, so it's kind of like an almost Hollow One. We don't activate it too often in this deck. That's not really the plan. It's just another big beater. So this is all fairly normal Hollow One stuff, but then the deck starts to take a turn. First off, we have 3 Gifted Aetherborns, and you're kind of like, Gifted Aetherborn. That's not normally something you see in a Hollow One deck, but Gifted Aetherborn, it's a good blocker, as a 2/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink can gain some life against burn, but really, we're trying to get Gifted Aetherborn in our graveyard along with Zetalpa Primal Dawn, and this is where the deck really starts to get strange. Like, if you sit down and play against a Hollow One player, and they cast a Burning Inquiry, and all of a sudden discarded Zetalpa, you're like, what in the world is happening with this 8 mana flying double strike vigilance trample indestructible thing? You can't cast that in your Hollow One deck. You don't even have white lands in your Hollow One deck, and that is because the deck has a bit of a surprise in Soulflayer. So the weird aspect and the cool part of this deck is Soulflayer, which allows us to delve away things like Zetalpa and Gifted Aetherborn from our graveyard to cast it for 2 mana, and then it gets all the abilities of the cards we exile. So for 2 mana, let's say on turn 1, we cast a Faithless Looting, maybe a Burning Inquiry, do some cycling. On turn 2, we can potentially Soul Flayer for 2 mana thanks to Delve, exile things like Zetalpa, things like our Gifted Aetherborn, things like Flamewake Phoenix, and build this crazy monster. Like, if we exile a Flamewake Phoenix, a Gifted Aetherborn, and a Zetalpa to Soul Flayer on turn 2, we get a 4/4 Flying Double Strike, Vigilance Trample, Indestructible, Death-Touching, Life-Linking, Hasty Threat, which is going to just close out the game in a couple of attacks. Plus, if we get the Gifted Gifted Aetherborn under there. It has that lifelink, which keeps us out of the danger zone of dying to our opponent's deck. So we're basically like a pretty normal Hollow One deck. That sometimes it's just like, haha, we have this almost unbeatable Soulflayer coming out of nowhere to smash your face. So a really cool twist on the Hollow One archetype. Otherwise, mana base, bunch of fetch lands, some fast lands, we have some shock lands, some basic lands. In the sideboard, we have Leyline to the Void to deal with our opponent's graveyard. Really important for a deck like ours, which has Burning Inquiry, which is making our opponent discard, so we're kind of helping graveyard decks to some extent. Alpine Moon to shut down things like Valakut, things like Tron lands. A bunch of removal, Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt for the early game, Engineer Explosives as a sweeper, Ancient Grudge for artifacts, plus we can discard it, which is kind of nice, and just flash it back. Thoughtseize, Collective Brutality to attack our opponent's hand, and that is Hollow Flayer for Modern, and that's our Modern Monday instant deck tag for this week. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.